So today I'm going to be showing how I do my own SVG files and get them into an STL file by using Illustrator, and then I use my Tinkercad, which is also a free program. And once I've done the files in Tinkercad, then I bring it into my Bambu Lab Studio program, and you can print it out on your AMS. So all you need to do is find a good quality picture, and obviously you can resize it, and then I will trace it so that I get my individual colors, because most of the AMSs are 4 colors, so I'm going to be using 4 colors. And once you've traced it and you have expanded it, you can take away the background, and there you will have all your individual colors. So now you will be able to see on the right hand side here in your layer, you've got quite a few of the colors, and they are individual. So what we're going to do is we are going to group the colors. So we have 4 of your greens. So what we'll do is we'll take away the other colors and just leave the green, and we're going to group those, because when you save them as the SVG, it's always better to have them as one. You can leave them all individual, but it just takes longer, and you might as well do them in their colors so that they group together. So let's do this. These are the whites, but what I know is there's one of the whites that is actually a hole. This one here is actually a hole in the picture, so we don't want that one. So let's take that one away. Let's just see which one it is. It's not that one, because it's white, it's quite difficult. Okay, so it's that one. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to recolor these so that I can actually see them. So I'm going to make it yellow so that I can see them when I am bringing them in. So I'm going to group that, and I'm going to delete this other white one. I'm going to delete that because I don't want that. I want the picture to be all together. Right, so here we have the face and the little eyebrow. I think it's an eyebrow. And we will group those together. And then we've got the red hat, which doesn't need to be grouped with anything, and then the black outline. I'm going to leave the black outline. I could group those two together, which might actually be easier, because then that will print out. So if I group this together, it will give us our 4 colors. And when I'm in Tinkercad, I'm going to make these a different height anyway. So I'm going to group those two together so that it's one object. So now we have our 4 colors. If we go back, we'll see, and there you can see where the other white was. I could have taken that out when I originally took the background away, but I had left it in, so I've just deleted it out of here. So there we have our 4 colors, and now what you can do is you can save these individually. So let's do the red hat. So now we need to go as a save as. I have 2 screens, so my save as screen comes up on my second screen, and so I want to just make sure that I have them done in their individual names. So I'm just going to do the Grinch red hat, and I will save that as an SVG, and you'll see it'll come up on here. It's saving it as an SVG. Okay, so then we will do the black outline, and we'll save that as black outline. Okay, and there we go. And then I will do the white puppy. Sorry. And then the green face. So if I had to do these as one and save it, I'm going to just show you why we have to do them individually, because when you bring it into Tinkercad, you have to bring those files in one by one. So I'm going to just save this as one file, and I will show you what I mean when I say that you have to bring them in individually. So this is the first one I want to just show. If we import the actual single file, which is as one file, to see what happens. You see, it's the entire picture that comes in. So if you import it, unfortunately, it doesn't bring in all the files separately. It'll bring in one outline, and this is cut away. So that is why we have to do them individually, because we want all these individual pieces and sections. So that is why you can't just save it as one SVG and bring it into Tinkercad. You have to import it, each file, each SVG individually, and it'll make up a puzzle type design, and then that is how you have them all individual. This is why we have to save each section as an individual SVG file. So what we'll do now is we will bring in the outline, which is just the outside, which is what it did originally. And like I said, I was going to explain, leave your dimensions as that, because I will show you just now why. If you change any of these, you're going to have to change every single one of them, and you're going to have to see what size they are and then bring them in. So a lot of the time you actually don't get this exactly right, and then it doesn't fit like a puzzle. So leave it with their dimensions and import it. What you could do is you could use the scale down of the percentage, but I prefer just to bring it in exactly with Tinkercad's dimensions, and I will show you just now how we rescale it after that. It does sometimes take a while depending on the size of the file. So now that is our outline. exactly the same as what it was if we hadn't done individuals, but we now can bring in our individual files. So we're going to choose each one. There's our little green face. Leave the dimensions like I said, and it will fit into place like a puzzle. It chooses its own color, so you can change these once you've imported all your files. And we will do the hat. And then we will import the fluff, which is the yellow. And there you can see now it's all falls exactly into place. So what you can do is you can either change them now if you want to, because then it's easier to basically see the different colors like you want them to be. And then we'll make that black. And there we go. There is our Grinch face. Now we want to change the size of it. So what we do is basically you just hold down your shift and then you take it down to whatever size you want. So I'm just going to do it as 10 centimeters. Now what I did want to do is, just to give it a bit of fun, is to make the depth different. What you could have done originally is, if you wanted to just make sure that they all go in resizing themselves, you can group them and then resize it. But if you make sure that you basically pick up every single one of them, then it will resize them together. So, and never be afraid of grouping anything in Tinkercad, because you can always undo it very easily by clicking on the group or ungroup. It's very simple to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do the height, because obviously I don't want it too high. So normally 5 is about right for the outline, and then you can change the height of these ones and take that down to say 3. So now you've got your 3D depth, which I think is quite nice. And there you can see you've got your little hole there. Right, so that's basically how you bring your SVGs into Tinkercad with your individual colors. So now what we do is we are going to export the shapes all individually again as an STL, same as we did in Illustrator when we saved the SVG files. If you're using Illustrator or Inkscape, whichever program you're using, you did that individually. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing. So here next to the Tinkercad icon, just make sure that you change the name to whatever you want to name them, so that you know when you are bringing them into your Bambu Lab, that you know which ones you are bringing in. So now you want to export this as an STL. Make sure that under the include you have the selected shape. You don't want everything in the design. I think it is just standard that it always is checked, but just make sure. And then your STL, you will put it in the download. Well, it will put it in the downloads for you. So just make sure that it has downloaded it, and then we will do the next, which is the red hat. Remember to press enter, and we're going to export it. Make sure again, and then we will do the white fluff. Export that. And then the green face. Right, so there we go. Those should all be there and ready and waiting for us to bring it into our Bambu Studio. I've opened up Bambu Lab, and I am now going to bring in all 4 of the files. Make sure that you select all 4 files and then drag them in, and you'll see it says load these files as a single object with multiple parts. You must say yes, because we are going to split these into different colors. So always make sure that you say yes. And even without the colors, you can see the depth of it. That varies how we did that in Tinkercad. And so now what we want to do is we want to right click and we want to say split into objects. So now you can see you've got all your individual colors, and now you need to allocate those colors to the colors that you wanted. So what we'll do is we'll change this color to black, so everything will go black. Then we want to add different colors. So here we'll do the white, and we'll do a red, which is already chosen, and we'll do a green for the face. You don't have to have those colors because it depends what colors you've got on your AMS, but it's just easier so that we can keep track of it. So this one originally is black. We're going to leave it black. Now we want to make this red. Make sure that obviously we had already made this red, and now we want to paint it. Don't worry about that because obviously it's just telling you that your only that specific item is showing when you are painting it. Okay, so now we want to do the rest, which is the white fluff, which we are going to choose. I keep clicking on there where I'm supposed to click on here. Okay, so let's just do those quickly. I always make sure that I do them myself so I can ensure that they all have every single bit of it is colored in. And now we'll do the green face. I won't click on there. Like I said, I like to make sure that I do them all individually so that I can make sure that they're all done. Right, so there we go. We have our little Grinch face with all the colors. So now there are your colors for your AMS. That's your tower. And now if we slice this, we will see how long it's going to take. Obviously, if you're doing a single color, it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take a lot quicker. Now here it says your G code. That is just because you need to move your tower. So let's do that again. And that's just when it changes from one color to the next. So there we go. It's going to take 2 hours and 12 minutes. If you only had this as a single color, it would probably take you probably less than half an hour. But because it's color, it takes a lot longer. So there. So basically that's the back and that's the front, and that's basically how it's going to print out, which is really nice because the back of it will basically just be a reverse of the front. So if you're using this as a Christmas decoration, what you could always do is you could always add a part to this. You can always add like a circle or something like that. If you wanted to, you could add a little circle. It's entirely up to you. If you want to make this into a Christmas bauble, you could always add that, but obviously we're not going to do that. So let's just clear that off. But so there we go. That is how you do your own colored SVG if you want to print it on your AMS printer in Bambu Lab Studio. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that it helped anybody that needed to know how to actually do their own. Like I did say, you can use Inkscape. I will just put a little section into the video of what Inkscape looks like. It is free, so you can download that off the internet. So just as a quick insert, this is Inkscape and you can download it for free and use that if you don't have Illustrator. So this is just basically Inkscape, which I don't use, but you can use it. I've just used Illustrator because that's what I normally use, but Inkscape is nice, it's free, the same as Tinkercad is free, and if you have Bambu Lab printer, your Bambu Studio is free. So you could literally do this without having to purchase any programs. So I hope this did help, and again, if you would please subscribe and like this video, I would appreciate it. And until next time, have a great one.